Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Howdy all, red.olaughlin here. We're on the Wise Ones on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. When I'm not doing TV shows, I'm a researcher. I research the human body at the cellular level, chemically speaking. I look for cause and effect relationships. Treat a cause, fix a problem. Treat symptoms, and you'll always be treating symptoms. That's what I write about. That's what I speak about. I primarily focus on longevity and age-related diseases. So that is what I do as a normal non-TV host. But as a TV host, I host 3 shows every week on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. And one of them deals with authoring, writing, publishing, editing, anything dealing in the book industry. The second show I do is called The Wise Ones, and this is any kind of business entrepreneur. You could be anything from a lawyer to just about anything, accountant. We've had all different kinds on here. Today, I'm honored to have Elise Michelle, because Elise represents a topic that we all know about. In fact, we're actually looking at it right now, but it's not something that we understand a lot about. And so from that, from somebody who's created and published over 1,000 videos, Elise Michelle, please join me up here on stage.
Hey, Red, thanks so much for having me.
Elise and I are in a networking group together, and she did a presentation not long ago, and I said, wow, the cost of admission was exceeded significantly, especially since there was no cost. But she has more. There are very few people I know that just give away tons and tons and tons of good information, usable information. And so for business people today, entrepreneurs, just about anybody, we are in a world that video dominates. And Elise is, I guess, what you call a video YouTube strategist. How did you end up in the video world, and how did you attain this miraculous title of strategist?
Well, so I actually started out as an e-commerce coach, and I'm really techie. My brothers, my dad, they're all engineers. So all of the people that were makers in e-commerce really struggled with the tech side. So I started doing a lot of tech stuff, did tons of website reviews, and started to see some analytics. I started doing marketing. And as I looked at the numbers for the different people that I was helping, I saw that a lot of platforms, it's hit or miss whether or not you find success, even if you follow the rules, right? But YouTube was something that I saw time and time again that people found success with if they followed the rules and they did the steps and they put it out there and they just got on camera. And so the longer that I did this, I was an e-commerce coach for 6 years. The more I started to be like, I don't really want to work in any other platform, because I know if people use YouTube, I know if people use video, it works. I've seen the stats. I've seen the numbers. I know it's true. Why would I work in something else when there's something that actually works? So that's what brought me to YouTube. As far as why I'm called a YouTube strategist, I don't really like the word coach very much. That's really the gist of it. But I wanted to make sure that people understand that I primarily focus on YouTube. Although, of course, I help people with TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and video in general. I just wanted it to be very, very clear that the focus for me is YouTube.
So YouTube emperor, is that, or empress? Is that a better? But you're in the YouTube business, but you're also in visibility and branding. As you say, you're there to help people. Your website, myscheduledbiz.com. why don't we just talk a brief moment about that since it popped up on the screen?
Yeah, my scheduled biz, I started out with helping people with automation. So I'm really good with automations. So the whole idea behind that is if you set things up in an automation, then you everything's scheduled. You have a scheduled business. You don't have to always be present. And YouTube works exactly the same way. Um, if you commit and you make a strong strategy with YouTube, the videos that you put out will continue to get you found for years and years and years. So I like to say that YouTube gets you off the content creation hamster wheel and instead lets you take a vacation. Because if you do the foundational stuff, then that'll continue to work for you and you don't necessarily have to be on camera every day or constantly on the hamster wheel. So my scheduled biz is because the idea is if you can schedule things out, if you can get things planned, then you don't have to keep running because we don't have time to be all the things all the time. That's just the reality.
Well, something just happened on YouTube that I've never seen before, and our production engineer in the back came out and says that little blurb up there with your website that popped in there, that was YouTube doing that, not our production people, which I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. I've never seen that before, and I'm guessing it doesn't happen very often. But is that something you've seen before?
No, actually, I haven't seen that happen before, but I guess it just knows me so well that it was like, we have to put that information.
But visibility and branding, let's talk a little bit about that before we get into the real strategy of doing YouTube videos. How do you assess a brand of somebody? In other words, let's say you're branding Elise Michelle, or you're branding Sally Jones. How do you go about it? They tell you what they think their brand is, or is it something you observe and you say, this is really what I think you are?
Yeah, no, I ask them to tell me what it is that they think that they're doing. Most of the time, the clients that I work with kind of don't know. So we will just talk about, well, what is it that you're teaching? Who is the audience you're trying to reach? And all of those kinds of things. And then after they tell me everything that they think, then I tell them back, I was in the medical field, so you always have to repeat back what someone told you. So what I hear is, and then you tell them it back. And then I will ask them questions about like numbers and stats and things as well. I'm also really big on search engine optimization. So a lot of times we'll sit down and we'll actually do some search engine optimization to see what is something people actually want help with that's in the realm of what they just told me. So sometimes I help them transition or shift to meet demand because it's important to do what you want, but it's also important to do something that's actually going to get you visibility and get you found. Otherwise, you're just putting content out there for no reason.
Okay, so if Sally Jones has literally no SEO presence, you pull her name up there, and there's 152 Sally Jones, but none of them are her, at least on the first 2 pages of Google. That gives you a certain indication of visibility and branding. But now, if she shows up and half of the first 2 pages is her videos, her website, her social media, that also gives you maybe too much information. So where do you start assessing that brand and visibility?
Well, so I rarely worry about someone's name. Now, for me, for my brand, I am my brand. So obviously, Elise Michelle is something that you want to make sure comes up, right? But a lot of the clients that I work with, they are not necessarily their brand. So in an instance like what you just described, then yes, we look up at their name. But typically what I'm talking about is more like if someone teaches yoga, we're going to look up search engine keywords and tools around yoga and find the right ways for them to present themselves so that they'll actually show up. It actually goes back to your earlier question about why YouTube strategist. YouTube strategist is a very high ranking search engine keyword, which is why I chose that word as opposed to something else that has too much competition. So I can show up as a YouTube strategist much easier than like YouTube coach or something else.
Okay, so you're using your research to help yourself with your branding.
Exactly. So same kind of idea as if I was helping a client. We find what is actually going to get them found, and then that's how we identify them.
Okay. And when you're doing this is usually on Zoom with somebody, or you're doing it over the phone, or what is your preferred method of communication when you're working with a new client?
Yeah, we always do Zoom calls. I really like being able to see someone and talk with them face to face.
Okay.
It also allows us to show like screen shares and stuff of things that they're doing.
Okay, so let's get into the video end of things. Right now, I have one of these things, and it works very well for doing most videoing. Is that adequate for most of us nowadays as business owners?
Yeah, 100%. Or if you've got a camera on your computer, that works too. I am very big on you don't have to have a lot of tools. You need to have some type of camera, phone, camera on your computer, lighting that you can actually see someone. And like, especially if you have glasses like I do, you want to make sure you don't have terrible, terrible reflections if you can avoid it, right? So things like that, very basic. You just need to make sure that you can be heard and you can be seen.
Okay, so I have my phone and I'm doing a video. I just take and post that video to Facebook or to YouTube. No editing, just send it out to the world. Thank you very much. End of story, right?
No. So my suggestion is there are some people that are really comfortable live. So like I'm really comfortable live. I have clients like that. I'm sure that's the same for you, Red. So they like doing live content. So let's use YouTube as the example. If you do a live video on YouTube, that's great. It's not as good for search engine optimization and things like that to make sure that you're found continuously when people are looking for search. So what I would recommend is take that live, download it, edit it. There are some very basic things. You need to make sure you have an outro if you're going to be on YouTube. Take out all the ums, ahs, pauses, and make it as succinct as possible. And then make sure you have a really good hook at the beginning. So that may be taking a piece out of the middle and putting it at the beginning or whatever it has to be. And then you can publish it as a video on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're going.
Okay, let's take each of those things one at a time, because the program you did the other night was on thumbnails. I thought was great.
Yep.
And that's key. But where do I get software to edit what came off my phone, and where do I put it to edit it? I mean, for somebody who's not, I'm just using myself as an example, for somebody who's not even a YouTube non-guru, where do I put this video in order to actually begin any kind of editing activity whatsoever, much less an intro or an outro?
Yeah, so the tool that I recommend is called Descript. And the reason I recommend it is because it's specifically good for people that don't do video editing. So there are tons of tools that you can use. And a lot of them use like a timeline is what it's called. It's like a graph at the bottom, and you're having to cut and do things there. For someone who isn't familiar with video editing, that can be very overwhelming and difficult. It's also destructive editing, which means you cut things out and then you can't really put them back. Descript has a feature where you can actually edit your video by looking at the text. And then you just put a line through it. You cross out anything you don't want to show in the video. And then if you decide you want it back later, you can just uncross it and it'll show back up. So that's called non-destructive video editing. So especially for the layman, it's a much easier way to try and edit things, and it's fixable if you mess up. The other reason is because Descript has a tool that allows you to speed up your video while you're editing, but then put it back to regular speed once you actually save it as a video. And a lot of tools, you can't do that, but it makes your editing faster because you can watch your full video at a much faster speed, so it takes you less time to edit.
Descript.
There's actually a third reason. There's also AI tools that make all of the editing faster. Literally, with just a couple clicks, you can have basic editing done.
Would you spell Descript, just make sure we all understand the same word?
Yes, it's DESCRIPT. Descript.
Descript, DESCRIPT. Is that .com?
That's it. .com, yep.
Okay, so I pull that up on my desktop, although I probably can do it on my iPhone also, but my fingers are much bigger than the little key things there, so I prefer something. So I pull it up, and then I just pull up from Descript.com the video that I just did on Zoom or whatever method I used, and that pops up there, and fairly self-explanatory.
I have 2 videos on YouTube on my channel that walk you through basic video editing using Descript and then advanced video editing using Descript. I recommend the basic for absolutely everyone. And if and when you're ready to do something more advanced, then I recommend the advanced. So you can look up my YouTube channel. It's at My Scheduled Biz, which is my business, and just type in Descript and you'll find those 2 videos. Descript is actually only really going to be useful on desktop. So this is assuming desktop editing. If you wanted to do on your phone, a really nice tool is CapCut. You can also do that on your desktop. I personally prefer Descript. I think that it's a little bit easier for people to use, but yeah.
Okay, so now I have the video, but I may not have an intro and outro. Intro means an introductory 20 seconds or whatever of this is my show today, or this is the standard that you see all the time, and an outro. Talk just briefly about intros and outros for people.
So I actually don't recommend having an intro at the beginning of your video. That's kind of an old style of YouTube. What you need to have at the beginning of your video is a hook. So a hook is something that's going to make someone go, huh, what? Like they need to know what you're about to say. You need to create a question in the viewer's mind. Then if you want a traditional intro, you can put that after 30 seconds. And then that's where you can introduce yourself and say like, hi, I'm Elise Michelle. I'm a YouTube strategist and I help you use video to reach your people, teach them, and close the sale, or whatever your particular thing is. But do not put that at the beginning. It has a tendency to make viewers leave. Keeping people interested for that first 30 seconds is essential if you want them to actually watch your video. So intro can just be as simple as you saying what you do, like I just demonstrated. The outro, you can actually just go to Canva, and there are tons and tons of templates, and then just get one of them, put your brand name on it, and then you're going to actually add it in video editing to the end of your video. And then when you upload to YouTube, there's a section that takes you to the outro, and you're actually going to drag little blocks onto the squares so that it'll actually show videos. And so it puts like basically fake buttons on top of your video.
And all this is in your training on YouTube.
Yes.
Okay. The hook, that was something you spent a lot of time the other night on, something that impressed me actually to a point. I said, Elise, I'd love to have you on my show. And so let's talk a little bit about hooks, because there are a lot of different kinds, and some are, I guess, more supportive of different kinds of brands and businesses and services. Why don't you spend just a brief moment or two and talk about hooks?
Yeah, so like I said, the hook and the thumbnail are actually kind of similar. They're both designed to make someone stop and pay attention and want to know the answer. Like you said, different industries are going to do this different ways. But for example, if you're like an entertainment industry, you might do something that's like, you won't believe the 5 things, blah, 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 or wait till the end to see how I exploded this trash can or something like that, right? Those are hooks. They are making it so someone has to stick to the end to see the thing, right? And being able to put that into the beginning is what's going to get them to watch through the entire video. So I was just working with one of my clients. She does plant videos. She's talking about, of course, now I've forgotten what that's called, native plants. She talks about native plants. And so she just did a video, and we were talking about how some of the plants that she chose don't require a lot of maintenance. So you could say something like, and she does it by state. So you could say something like, in Alabama, there are 3 plants that don't require a lot of maintenance. And that's fine. But you could also say, these 3 plants thrive on neglect. Stick around to find out more. Do you see how the second one is way more interesting? And you're like, oh, they thrive on neglect. What does that mean? Whereas if I just say these 3 plants don't require a lot of maintenance, it just sounds very, that's the difference. Does that make sense?
So the hook is there to hook something in the brain to say, I need more.
You have to keep watching. You don't want to back away. You want to be able to see what it is.
So when I see one of these little YouTube videos, 5 foods that cause cancer, that is a hook.
That is the hook.
Or eat these 3 things to live to 125 years of age. Those
exactly.
Those are the hooks that say, I really need to click on that one. So how do you get hooks? Is that something that you as a YouTube strategist comes up with, or just us mere mortals figure that out over time?
Yeah, no, you can figure it out. So there's tons of title generators, which can help you with hooks, that you can look up title generators. You can also ask ChatGPT, find some examples of hooks in your industry, give them to ChatGPT and say, here's some examples of the types of hooks that I want. Now give me a hook for this. Like if you have a script, give ChatGPT the script and ask it to give you 10 ideas for hooks. And then the other thing I do want to just make sure it's connected, because we haven't touched on this yet. Your thumbnail is a type of hook. What you say at the beginning of the video is also a type of hook. They need to deliver to each other. Because if your thumbnail is 3 foods to help you live to 125, and then your hook in the video when you're talking is, we're going to talk about 7 different ways that you can live longer. They sort of go together, but they don't really go together. So make sure you promise to deliver on what you said in the thumbnail, which is what got them to click. So you would want your hook to be like, you will be able to live to 125 years old if you eat these 3 foods. Now those 2 go together. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And we're going to be taking a brief moment here and going to commercial break. But when we get back, I want to talk about how do we actually get the text on some of these videos or on that first slide about 5 foods that cause cancer. So that's the direction I want to go into when we come back.
Get ready to wear the brand that's changing the world of media. Introducing the official USA Global TV and Radio online store. From our TV show hosts to our incredible global guests, you asked, we delivered. Rep your appearance with pride. Whether you've been on air, hosted a show, or tuned in, we have something just for you. Visit us at USAGlobalTVRadioShop.myspreadshop.com and start shopping today. Check back frequently. We're dropping fresh new designs all the time. Showcase your role in our global community. These designs celebrate your voice, your story, your presence. It's more than just merchandise. It's a movement of hope, inspiration, education, and elevated listening. Head to USAGlobalTVRadioShop.myspreadshop.com. Your spotlight awaits. USA Global TV and Radio. Elevate your style. Elevate the world.
Red O'Laughlin here on the Wise Ones on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. Elise Michelle is my guest today, and we're talking about video marketing, anything video, anything YouTube. Please join me back over on stage, Elise.
Hello, Red.
Howdy. So we have this script.com that we have loaded on our desktop, and I download my whatever I've had my video at. It's now sitting there. I need to create some kind of hook at the front with a picture or text on it or something that people can read. How do I do that?
So the hook is actually just you talking on video. So hopefully when you recorded your video, you had your hook. So you just said it when you recorded. It's not something you necessarily have to add into Descript because it should already be there as part of your video. But because normally your hook isn't going to have a URL or anything for you to put, but if you wanted to put text on the screen, there's just a button to click text and you can just add it, or you can add subtitles, which will be like the captions that would just be what you say. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. But I notice that sometimes when my videos get published on, say, Facebook or on Instagram or other places, sometimes there's text along with me talking and sometimes there's not. And I'm guessing that's because the platform automatically includes that as part of their service to publishing that video.
Yes, exactly. So they'll get a transcript of their own and put it on there for you. With YouTube, you have the option of putting closed captioning on or off, and that is all done for you automatically when you upload your video into Script. You can actually just download your transcript and then upload it into YouTube. Typically, the captions at the bottom are going to be more for vertical video. So like if you're doing shorts or TikTok or something like that. When you're doing a longer form video, that's usually going to be closed captioning on YouTube, where someone who maybe is hard of hearing or deaf or just likes to see the text can turn that on or off. So usually you're not going to have it anchored in the video on horizontal longer form content. But often you'll put titles or something. So if the idea was, 3 foods that help you live to 125, you could click the text button on Descript and put that like at the top right here so that it would show. And so when you're talking, when you're saying your hook, they know this is what you're talking about. Does that make sense?
It makes more sense than you would think. Because it literally does. The more information that we have that clarifies what we can do and simplifies our job and makes us look better, I think for any business owner, that makes sense. It just, that's what we're trying to do with some of these, what's out there. I didn't know that. Well, you can do it this way or that way, but this way is a whole lot easier and cheaper. And so when I'm looking at things, okay, I got my camera, I got my editing tool, lighting. Let's talk a little bit about lighting.
Yeah, so the biggest thing is going to be making sure you have light coming from different directions. So like if you look at me, I don't have anywhere that's like super bright and then anywhere that's like super dark. This is also a style thing. That's my preference. Sometimes people really like to have the bright light on one side and then it makes it more shadowed on the other. But so I'll give you an idea of where my lights are. I have an overhead light over here. I have another overhead light over there. I have a small lamp right there, another small lamp right there, and a window over there. So I actually have 5 lighting sources in order to make this be more even. But none of them are special things. I don't have any kind of special photography or videography lighting. It's just regular lighting in my room that I added lamps to supplement to make it so that I looked good on camera. Also, because it's all the directions, I have less problem with reflections on my glasses. So it isn't necessary to have any specific type of lighting. Also, sitting in front of a window can be a really good way to get good lighting, or sitting outside even.
I think you mentioned a very important thing is having the little circular light on your glasses as you're doing your video. I've seen too many of those over time. And I'm saying they have to see their picture. They have to know that's there. And I'm thinking to myself, why are they not, moving their head up or down or moving it off to the side? But I see that quite often. Now the lighting, some of them have that bluer or more yellow, or it has the ability to change. I've had that over time. Most of them just plug into a computer and they're there. So the lighting is something that's fairly inexpensive but critical.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
It'll drag down your entire video if you don't have enough light.
Now, once I get my video done, I put it out there on YouTube, and they're going to come to me, right? Because I put it out there.
It's not quite that simple. So we talked before about search engine optimization, SEO for short. There are some keys. So it's kind of like 2 different things, right? So Red, you're here on USA Global TV. It's a big channel. You've got lots of subscribers. They come and they watch your show. So you kind of have this inbuilt system of making sure you've got viewers, right? But for somebody that's just starting on YouTube, you don't have that, right? You can try and send your existing audience to YouTube. And in fact, you should definitely do that. But if you want people to find you so that they will actually learn that you exist and you can potentially help them and potentially get clients, you really have to lean into what YouTube has given us. So it's just like with your website. If you want to get found, you have to use search engine optimization. Same thing on YouTube. So we do a lot of keyword searching with my clients to find words that are really good ones for them to use. And then we sprinkle that in everything. So your titles, your descriptions. There are channel keywords. There are video tags, which are also keywords. All of those things can have those keywords in them to help you get found. The strategy that I teach for YouTube for business owners is different than the strategy that you use for entertainment, in that the whole goal for me is to sell what the business owner has. If you get monetized through YouTube, meaning YouTube pays you, that is a great side revenue, but our main focus is making sure that you get to sell your stuff. So leaning into search engine optimization will make it so you can get paid today, tomorrow, next week, 2 months from now, 6 years from now. I have videos that I've personally put out 4 years ago that I still make money on because people come and buy the products that I talked about in those videos. And the reason that happens is because you show up in search when people are asking questions that they need answers to. And so that's how you want to set your stuff up. Answer their questions, make sure you're using the right keyword, and you will continue to get found and found and found and found and generate revenue.
You mentioned USA Global TV and Radio Network. We were very fortunate, not fortunate, it's a very good network. We went over 100,000 subscribers and got an award. And I think the latest figures I've seen is 105,000 on our basic YouTube channel. And then there's another channel that also is a backup to our USA Global TV and Radio Network. And it now, as our backup, has 35,000. So we're continuing to grow. We do over 50 shows a week. And it's just an amazing place to be. So for those people who are interested in becoming a TV host or being a guest on one of our shows, USA Global TV and Radio Network. That's my plug for the thing today. Okay, so marketing. So I may go on Facebook and market my YouTube channel. I may go on my email newsletter. I have lots of places, just like I would market anywhere else. I have a YouTube video. I want to market that. But I could also post that same YouTube video on Facebook or on Instagram, right?
You could, but I don't recommend it. Facebook and Instagram are not search engines. They're just not. The only platforms that are search engines are Pinterest, YouTube, maybe TikTok, but not really, although that still remains to be seen. But Facebook and Instagram are not search engines, so they're not going to deliver for you for the long term. YouTube will, which is why it's so important to direct your people to YouTube so that you can continue to make sales and meet the right people and have people paying attention to what you're saying for the long term, years and years and years. Things you post on Facebook and YouTube are very short lived. They're not going to come back later. So my suggestion is that you make a video, so we're talking longer form, for YouTube. And then you can take snippets out of that video to post on the other platforms. And you can also create other types of shorter content around that video. What I do when I'm marketing a video, when I release a new video, is I take the snippets out, I create a couple other types of shorts, and I post them today, like when I'm releasing my video, and then I continue to post different pieces for a couple of weeks after that. Then I put it on a list that Metricool is a social media scheduler that I recommend, but you could use whatever one you have. It has a feature called an auto list. So basically all of my posts for my videos are on this big long list, and it automatically by itself with no intervention from me posts content over and over again. So I think I have a lot of auto lists, but the one for my videos I think has about 200 pieces of content on it. And so every day it posts one of those. And every single day it is promoting an old video that I did however many days ago. And so not only did I send people to it when I put the video out, I continue to send people to it for months and years later also, because every single person that's in my audience that goes and watches that YouTube video is helping YouTube understand who my audience is and is helping YouTube to know that my content is worth showing, which means I'm going to get more and more views on my content by continuing to post. So it's not just about sharing today, it's about sharing for the long term on social media to your existing videos. Does that make sense?
Yes. And what was the name of the scheduler that you use?
Metricool, Metricool. And I have videos on my channel that walk you through how to use Metricool as well.
Metricool, Metricool, Metricool.
That's it, Metricool.
Okay, so now I'm taking those. The show today, I have simulcast on a couple different of my social media channels, but on Facebook, they'll only keep them there for 30 days or whatever. They have changed their policy. I get a little note saying, if you don't want to save this one, don't worry about it. We'll trash it. If you want to save it, now's a good time to do it because you can't do it later. And so now I need to download that to my hard drive in order to save that particular video. But what you're saying is I can post them there, but that's really not the best place. But to take a short by using that Descript and pulling out a little segment, do I need to put hooks on that little segment, that little short?
So ideally, whatever you're pulling out, it has an inbuilt hook. So just as you're talking about things, it just needs to be something that grabs someone's attention. Shorts are different than videos, right? We're not trying to get them to stay for 5, 10, 15 minutes. We're trying to get them to stay for 15 seconds, right? So it doesn't have to be as powerful of a hook, but it just needs to tell them what you're talking about. So going back from what I was just saying, maybe it'll say something about the keyword strategy that you must use is, looking up keywords on YouTube. That's enough for someone to go, oh, I'm curious about keyword strategy. I want to know what you're talking about. So it doesn't have to be quite as oomph. It just has to be enough that they can tell what you're going to be saying in the short. There is actually another tool. I'm sorry I'm dropping so many tools, but there's another tool that I would actually really recommend. Descript does have the ability to pull out shorts from your videos, and it's getting better and better at it. But another tool that I would recommend is called Minvo. It's Minvo, and it's really, really good at going through your entire video and pulling out the best shorts that'll actually perform. And it does a good job of making sure you have a good hook in any section that it pulls out. Okay, so then you don't even have to think about it.
Before we get ready to wrap this thing up, being able to do the video that I just did and have that in Spanish or Japanese, is that capability decent today, or do you have experience in that?
I don't do a lot with translation, but I know that Descript has the ability to do translation. They've added more and more languages the longer they've been out. So that is something that Descript could help you with, translations into another language. And it would obviously get you a larger audience. I've worked with channels that are like in French and English. They'll do all their videos in both in the past. So I know that can be really useful to reach a broader audience.
Okay. What about music in the background, either at the beginning, during, or end of your video?
Yeah, so that can be really helpful in setting like the feel of a video. I personally don't love having sounds in the background, music or otherwise, because it can be a distraction, especially for anyone that might be hard of hearing or something else. So most of the time, I would reserve that at the beginning or the end, and then use like sound snippets to emphasize something. So like if I was going to have a picture zoom in to show the next video, then you could have like whoosh, right? But that's just like a tiny short sound, not throughout the entire video. That being said, a lot of YouTubers and a lot of video people like having music in the background all of the time. It does make it look more professional potentially. I personally just don't like that. That's more of a personal preference than a you shouldn't do this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Does the audio of the music interfere with the audio of the speaking?
No, so if you were editing into script, you would just add an audio layer. It would show on a separate track, and you could turn down either thing. So you could turn up the speaking or turn down the audio so that it's not too much. And that's pretty straightforward to do. You literally just right click and then you just say volume, adjust volume.
I used to do a lot of editing for DVDs way back when, and I would have that option of being able to do that pretty easily. So that part I am very familiar with, but it's been a while. We're at that point in time in the show where I need to have you tell us who's a good client for you. How do they reach you? What services do you have? So take it away, Elise.
So if you want to be able to tell your brand story more effectively, if you have been thinking about being on YouTube or not, maybe you're really camera shy, but you know how important video is, all of those people are great to come to me. I love to work with small business owners and help them tell their story the way that it needs to be told so that they can actually find their people and reach them, teach them, and close the sale without having to stay on the hamster wheel. Get off the hamster wheel, schedule your business. We can get together. You can go to myscheduledbiz.com to get help. There's a little button at the top that says start now. Go to that, and I'd love to help you.
Okay, so for our audio audience, My Scheduled Biz, M-Y scheduled, SCHEDULED, biz, BIZ.com.
Yeah, and scheduled is past tense, so don't miss the D.
With that, Elise, thank you so very much. I appreciate you coming on today, and I look forward to our next conversation because you did mention at the beginning that you have a book that you're coming out with, and so maybe the next time we'll talk about your book and promo that and get that going. So I thought we were going to have time today to talk just a little bit about that, but you just provided so much information that we just ran out of time. So, Elise,
thank you so much, Red.
Take care, and we will catch you later on. Elise Michelle, and she's our YouTube strategist, guru of a lot of different things with videos. Please check her out on YouTube. Lots of training opportunities there. She mentioned three different, I guess, tools today that I'm definitely going to be taking a look at. None of them I'm aware of. So that being said, we're getting down to the last minute and a half of today's show. The next show I'm going to be doing literally in about 20 minutes is called Talking Heads. And my topic today is increasing the risk of disease. Every day we age a little bit more incrementally, but incrementally we're increasing the risk of disease because we're not doing those things that incrementally increase the risk, but we're not doing the things that we need to calm that risk down a little bit. So yeah, we may be building up our immune system a little bit now, but we neglect it for a couple of weeks and overall, we're doing things, but overall, it's tending downward. So as you get in your 60s, 70s, 80s, the body's just not operating the same. So that's my topic today. I'm going to talk about what affects our aging, how it affects our health, what can we do about it, what are these risks, and what would I do as far as at the end of the show. These are things that I think are very, very worthwhile. So with that, I'm going to sign off on the Wise Ones on the USA Global TV and Radio Network, and highly recommend you join me on Talking Heads on the next show here in 20 minutes. Take care, y'all. Bye.
In a world craving connection, one platform dared to dream bigger. USA Global TV and Radio, a beacon for global voices, authentic storytelling, and elevated listening. Led by visionary Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, the journey from a spark to a global force is now captured in one inspiring book. Honored with YouTube's Silver Creator Award for surpassing 100,000 subscribers, discover the evolution, the challenges, the triumphs, and the unstoppable spirit that created a global movement. Executive producer Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang. Creative director Paul Garcia. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Now an Amazon #1 new release in paperback and ebook. Broadcasting Brilliance, the evolution of USA Global TV and Radio, is inspiring readers around the world. Join the movement that's redefining global media one story at a time.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to TracyCramPerkins.com. Tracy Cram Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
From the magical world of the amazing adventures of Lady Ella comes a heartwarming new journey filled with kindness, courage, and compassion. Lady Ella, the beloved ladybug and listening mentor, is back, and this time she is not alone. Meet her brave and thoughtful brother, Lord Jack. Together, they take flight on their very first kindness adventure. Along the way, they meet 3 new friends in need: a duck feeling discouraged, a mouse struggling to be understood, and a busy little bee who's completely lost. But with the power of elevated listening and simple acts of kindness, Lady Ella and Lord Jack show us how understanding and empathy can make the biggest difference in someone's day. Written by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, the listening mentor. This 9th book in the best-selling Lady Ella series teaches children ages 5 to 10 the essential skills of listening, kindness, and etiquette. Now available for pre-order on Amazon. Scan the QR code and order your copy today.
In a world that moves fast, there's strength in the woman who moves with grace. Introducing Bay London, where confidence meets craftsmanship. Each piece is intentionally designed for the woman who knows her worth, crafted from luxurious Italian eco-fabrics that feel as good as they look. With elegant coverage, effortless support, and timeless style, our swimwear celebrates both your body and your essence. Founded by fashion expert Carrie Sykes, Bay London is made for women who want to feel sexy, stylish, and seen. From poolside to beachside, sunrise to sunset, Bay London outfits you for every moment that matters. Because beauty isn't about age, it's how you wear your confidence. Bay London, confidence, elegance, effortless luxury. Visit baylondon.com. Act now for your exclusive friends and family discount of $35. Scan the QR code. Bay London, where confidence meets craftsmanship. Proud sponsor of USA Global TV and Radio.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents our partner and sponsor, Mr. Philip Sykes and the British School of Excellence. Building confidence, changing lives. And now, proudly presenting the Polished Professional.
On a transformative journey with the British School of Excellence's comprehensive suite of masterclasses, crafted to elevate your professional and personal life. 8 outstanding modules will elevate you to the next level. Module 1, Exploring Life's Purpose, delves into the depths of self-discovery, guiding you to chart your unique path to fulfillment and success. Module 2, Mastering Professional Presence and Confidence. This masterclass is a deep dive into the art of self-assurance and commanding presence, which is essential for standing out in today's competitive landscape. Module 3, Learn the secrets of visual impact, how to curate a personal style that amplifies your professional brand. Module 4, Mastering Professional Etiquette and Communication Excellence, navigating the nuances of corporate interaction with grace and tact. Module 5, Elegance in Eloquence. We impart powerful techniques to captivate and persuade any audience with your oratory skills. Module 6, Unlock the potential of your emotional intelligence, EQ, and harness the ability to connect, empathize, and lead with emotional savvy. Module 7, Mastering DISC, building a gateway to understanding behavioral styles, fostering better personal and professional relationships. Module 8, Mastery in Dining Etiquette, building your confidence to perfect the subtleties of dining with finesse, enhancing your social savviness at any table. Step into the Polished Professional program where poise, elegance, and excellence aren't just taught, they're instilled for life. Join us to redefine your potential and polish your professional edge.
To learn more, go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. The British School of Excellence are investors in people. Let us invest in you.
Ever dreamed of hosting your own TV show, sharing your story with a global audience? Now's your chance to shine. At USA Global TV and Radio, we make it easy for you to create, host, and broadcast your very own TV show. Whether you're a storyteller, entrepreneur, or industry expert, we help you bring your vision to life. With our exclusive interview, live streaming, and podcasting training, you'll gain the skills and confidence to captivate your audience. Our global platform ensures your voice is heard worldwide. Join our community of creators who are already making an impact, one show at a time. Step into the spotlight. Host your own TV show on USA Global TV and Radio. Book your discovery call today at usaglobaltv.com. Copyright 2025 USA Global TV and Radio. All rights reserved. Terms and conditions apply. To learn more, visit usaglobaltv.com.
Conveniently located in the Cherry Hill Mall in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, Avio Art specializes in custom art and photography printing. From museum-quality canvas prints and stretching to photo restoration, fine art reproduction, and framing with museum-grade glass, every service is completed in-house with exceptional attention to detail. Visit avioart.com or email support@avioart.com.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honored to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.